Good evening. It's now 6:03, and I will call this Tuesday, August 17th meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. If you'd all please rise and join me in saluting the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first order of business, we don't have any minutes to approve, so we'll go to the warrants. And I'll entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant number 4 for $301,176.87. School warrant number 1003 for $13,731.68. Fire truck number 1004 for $85,197.89. General warrant number 1005 for $185,661.87. And CMRPC warrant number 1006 for $69,068.96.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have any financial items. We don't have any old business. So, on to new business. The PVPC housing rehab amendment.
They needed to add some funds to the project, so there's 2 spots on here that need to be signed.
There's a change order of $21,000.
Yes.
It's all covered by grant stuff, right?
Yep.
Just signature stuff. So I'll entertain a motion to approve signing.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion we had on that?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then, memo of understanding from CMRPC and North Brookfield.
So that they can submit the CDBG grant application on our behalf.
Just the standard MOU that we've signed a number of times, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
June, July fire report.
The weekend report is in there too, which is pretty lengthy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't need to read the-
It's just 21 pages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like every hour what was done.
It's just the front and back of this top page.
Yes.
That's the report itself, and then this is just logs of the shifts that they do to show us what they've been doing on the shifts, so. You want to read the report?
Sure. Monthly fire report for June and July 2021. There are 3 new applications to become North Brookfield firefighters. There were no fundraisers. Equipment repair, they're preparing to paint federal surplus heavy-duty short trailer. This trailer will be used for carrying many items used in case of building, deck, or ditch collapse for the initial response. State and district tech trailers will also be called in for any serious incidents that require stabilization and response rescue. Fire prevention, continue working on pre-fire plans, continue to respond as needed for any after-action situations. Continuing street numberings system, attended functions at Orchard, continuing classes online for prevention members. For training, they have 12-hour pumps and hydraulics program for all firefighters, 3 new recruits working on fire ground operations. Fire station maintenance, general cleaning, mounting tools in station. They had 4 structure fires, 1 gas leak, 10 medical assists, 1 extrication from playground equipment at the school, 2 smoke detector activations, 1 carbon monoxide, 1 police assist, 4 false alarms, 1 severe weather station coverage, 12 permit inspections, and 70 ambulance calls. Sincerely, Chief Hallway.
So I'll entertain a motion to accept the June and July reports from the fire department.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Interim appointment for the director at the COA.
Yes, the COA voted to make Michelle Thayer interim director.
So we have a letter from the Council on Aging. They voted to recommend Michelle Thayer as interim director for the senior center from July 21st through September 20th. Unless the senior center director position has been filled, we will review the interim director to make recommendations. So it's a short-term type of thing.
Do they have a position posted
Yes.
so that they can get somebody, so if anybody's interested?
Yes, it's posted on the website and in the window at the town hall.
Okay. Are there any other place we should mention that? To get somebody interested,
Yeah,
someone
I
from
think I'll
town?
put it on the sign.
Put it on the
Facebook
sign.
page. Yeah, I told Judy that after I got back from vacation, I'd spread the word a little further.
Okay.
Because I
Yep.
wasn't sure if they'd get any bites while I was gone.
Yep.
So now that I'm back, I'll.
Yeah. Is there some kind of a publication that they have? Is there some kind of a group?
The senior center has a
Shane.
face thing on, but I don't know how many look at that.
I think I have seen it on the face thing.
Yeah. Is it on just the senior one, or is it on the,
I saw it on the town one, I believe.
okay, there's so many of those, I know. But, I mean, it should be noted that if somebody in town is qualified for to be director of the senior center, you know, there is a position open.
Yeah, because sometimes they have those email chains that, you know, the
Yeah.
town clerk will ask a question and all the town clerks will,
Yeah. I'll
so,
check if they
yeah.
have anything.
There's
You need to be able to run a
Yeah.
kitchen and do a little bit of, because they have someone come in and do nails and stuff.
That's separate.
But
That's
don't
somebody
you have to
that-
be certified to have that there? I don't know.
No,
No.
they have someone certified come in and do that
Okay.
stuff.
yeah.
You
Okay.
do have to be trained for like food safety and stuff like that.
Okay,
But no,
yeah.
you're not.
Well, just to throw it out there, nobody knows what it is, so, all right. that was it. Just
So
throwing
I'll
my
entertain a
2
motion
cents.
on that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
So it's done. Okay. Special election warrant.
Here's the official warrant.
So, yeah, there's the official one. So on, what's the date of it?
September 7th.
September 7th. So on September 7th, oh, there it is, you see. The polls will be open for the town to vote after we've approved at town meeting for the purchase of a parcel of land. So the warrant will read, "In the name of the Commonwealth, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of North Brookfield who are qualified to vote in town elections to vote at North Brookfield Senior Center on Tuesday, the 7th day of September at 7 a.m. Then and there to answer the following question. Shall the town of North Brookfield be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bond issued in order to acquire the fee and/or other property interests in a certain parcel of property containing 3.71 acres, more or less, located at 63 to 65 Donovan Road, further identified as parcels 38-56-63 and 38-56-65 on Assessor's Map 38 for general municipal purposes. Polls will be open at 7 a.m. and will close at 8 p.m. So that's to vote for the building to house highway so that we can move fire into highway and then rehab that building a little bit to accommodate them. So I'll entertain a motion to sign the warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye. nice yellow folder.
Yeah. She has a typo in there, by the
I
way.
know. We pointed that.
So, do we have, All right, so the next one, we don't have time?
You want to sign the contract for the complete streets? It wasn't on the agenda, it came in after, but that's what we're done.
Okay. And what's this contract?
That's for the $400,000 grant we got to do the sidewalks.
Okay,
And we talked with Jason Benoit, and he said we can cut a lot of the costs down.
so none of it will come out of our pocket?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay.
And what is the sidewalk plan? Is it what they had proposed originally, or are we?
Well, that's what they sent in, right? Because what they had proposed was what they had to work with.
Right,
Jason's now looked at it and said there's a lot of things that we're not going to be doing.
okay,
So that's how we're saving the money, because before we were upside down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we could only get, what, 400, and it was 424.
It was like 500,000.
Oh, yeah,
The
100,000.
total cost was 500,000, plus we have to pay the engineering cost, which is about 50,000, a
Yeah.
little less than that. But he went through and he crossed off almost $100,000 worth of stuff, so. And we can extend and appropriate over time, you know, if we have to, for the
Okay.
contracts, so,
and what
Yeah.
is that, Main Street?
yes.
Is that all those bump outs and all that stuff?
Right, but we're
that-
not doing the
We're
bump
not
outs, he
doing
cut
those.
those out.
So do we have to see that plan, or we're just going with what Jason's recommending?
Well, they haven't made the plan yet.
Okay,
That was just like a, you know, conceptual vision of what it could be, but
correct.
we need to sign all the contracts and everything for the engineer to actually come in and make the
Yeah,
actual
so it's,
plan.
the design is gonna be part of the grant.
Okay,
So that was a concept, now we're going to actual design.
okay, because that's what I don't want to sign off on what they had proposed.
No,
Because that
exactly,
was,
yeah,
I didn't think it was any good,
yep,
and I stated that at the time, so.
yes.
All right, no, we're good with
All right, now, any motion then?
So moved.
that. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so now we have the hearing. 6:15, I will open the public hearing on the CDBG grant, right? It's a grant thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You want people. Here's just a really simple little spreadsheet just showing the budget, and then here's just a map showing Mount Pleasant Street.
Okay.
In case you don't know, in case you didn't know what that looked like.
Did we get that?
I gave you copies, but it's not colored and pretty.
Oh,
Well, this version I made today.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The handout gives the same budget amount. I just wanted to put it to a spreadsheet format.
All right, I
yeah,
see.
let me just,
And then you can
so you're doing Mount Pleasant Street only?
Yes.
Up the hill and the sidewalk and the underneath?
So let me first sort of give a little bit of background for those who aren't aware. So my name is Ian McAwee. I'm an associate planner with the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. We are working with the town of North Brookfield on a community development block grant application, which is a federal grant program that is administered through the state by the Department of Housing and Community Development. Thank you. And this is a grant program that allows for different types of community development activities, such as, road infrastructure improvements, social services, housing rehab. There's a lot of different types of projects that can be covered underneath this grant program. What I'm here to talk about today is for the FY21 grant application that is due on September 10th. And we are looking to do a design and construction of phase 1 of the Mount Pleasant Street Improvement Project. So what we looked at, this plan is sort of coming out of a larger improvement study of the west side infrastructure. So the west side of the downtown neighborhood that's sort of behind or to the west of North Main Street is part of an earlier community development block grant application grant that we're currently working on. So what that looked at was, the whole neighborhood and did an infrastructure study, looks at roads, sewer, water, drainage, all sorts of things in this neighborhood, and came up with a list of projects and sort of estimated costs and sort of how they wanted to, or how they recommended, but allowed the town to really sort of phase it in and phase in the different improvements. So what we are looking at now is to take the first phase of Mount Pleasant Street to do a full design and then construction of the road. So the design will cover all improvements of Mount Pleasant Street. So the road, the sidewalk, drainage, water line. What we are going to focus on in this first phase is the water line, which is arguably the most expensive single portion of the project. So it will involve replacing I believe it's a 6-inch main with an 8-inch water main that goes along the entire street, then replacing the hydrants and the hydrant connections and the connections into the houses, or to the property lines where the public right of way ends, and then doing patchwork over the roads, then coming back in phase 2 to do the full road construction along with drainage and sewer. That will come in a future grant. This first phase is going to focus solely on the water main, is how they were able to price it or get the cost estimates to fit within the budget constraints that the grant has us applying under. We can apply up to $800,000, including administrative costs, design, construction, contingency. And so what they had come up with was to do the water line first. And so that when you come back for the phase 2, won't be disrupted. And then to not do a full reconstruction of the road just because you'll have to tear it up and do more improvements in the future. So that is what we are proposing for this grant. It's going to be a single project application due to the cost of everything. One thing to note is that once we do the design and we get up-to-date numbers in the future, and maybe the cost of construction will go down a little bit, we can look at maybe adding in some of the elements of phase 2 into phase 1. So, we could do some drainage. We might be able to do some more sidewalk and repairs along Mount Pleasant Street, but we'll just have to see sort of what the costs of everything comes down to after we do the full engineering. Because the study really just looked at, very preliminary improvements, preliminary numbers. We'll get a better idea of that should the grant be successfully funded. And we are looking at the entirety of Mount Pleasant Street from North Main Street all the way to High Street. And we're looking at that mostly because it has a large area of beneficiaries that we were able to income qualify as part of the grant, as part of the process. There has to be some sort of income qualification that's part of the grant application. We were able to do that. We were able to benefit, not only the residents along the street, but also including the housing authority that's right there at the corner of North Main and Mount Pleasant Street. And you make these improvements to the water line that, the improvements to the infrastructure in town has popped up in several different plans, throughout the years, including the master plan, the current master plan. I'm looking to see, sort of what language and what improvements are being targeted and being recommended in the revised master plan that's currently underway right now. So that's sort of, where we are looking at sort of sheets to see that, these are improvements that the town, while not directly saying, we want North Main Street or we want Mount Pleasant Street, but we do want improvements to the infrastructure in town, to the water mains, to the hydrants, in order to keep that street up to date, in order to keep all the water, running smoothly and all the hydrants running smoothly without any issues. The engineers did see a lot of issues with sort of corrosion and things like that to the pipes. So, keep the infrastructure up to date. You can keep the neighborhood up to date and running, smoothly. So, we are looking at the budget. So it's going to be about $720,000 to do the full engineering and construction of the phase 1, and that's including the procurements of not only the engineer but also the construction, the contractors. And then we would have some general administrative fees to cover reporting, onboarding, environmental review. There's, a lot of little pieces to the grant administration that would cover, to a total cost of $785,613. None of the funds will be coming out of the town's general budget. Everything is paid for by the grant. The town has to contribute nothing to this, which is unlike some other grants that the town has a match, completely match free. And then sort of lastly, before I open it up to questions, is we are, the town currently has a grant, a CDBG grant, FY19, that has to meet a 70% expenditure threshold that is required by the state. We are currently we're hoping that we'll get some invoices in and be able to process them this month to get the town up to that 70%. If not, we will have to put in a waiver to the state to get approved, saying that while you didn't meet the 70%, here are the reasons why. We're talking internally. There's a lot of good reasons why we might be close to that 70%. I think we're at like 62% right now. A lot has to do with the housing rehab program that's currently ongoing, delays because of the COVID pandemic and cost of construction, and delays on that end is causing the town might barely or almost reach the 70%, but we'll put in the waiver to the state. It should be approved, but just saying, that's not, I can't say for sure that it will be approved, but I'm pretty sure it will be approved. And if the case that it's not, then we can look at returning some funds from the FY19 grant to the state in order to get you to that 70%, so you don't have to miss out on this year application, and so that you can continue on and try to get things moving forward so that you can apply for the phase 2 in the future, and not keep things sort of waiting around for a long time. So that's sort of, the reason I'm here is just to sort of present, this is the project that we're looking to help the town apply for. If awarded, we will help manage the grant on the town's behalf, as we've done with the FY19, as we've done in the past. And then just to see any questions from those in attendance, from the selectmen, before we can move forward with this application. And then the last thing that if everything sounds good, there is on that handout a sort of recommended language that the selectmen can use to vote to move forward with that, to approve the project and move forward with the application. And at that, I will open up to selectmen for any questions or comments that you might have, and then we can open it up to those in the audience.
Do you have any?
What was that 70%? We didn't reach that goal. What was that money for?
That's
Other projects that we haven't completed, or?
So that's 70% of the funds that you were awarded for the FY19 grant. And that is for the infrastructure study that we just signed, or that actually signed the last invoice for, so that
Yep.
project's complete. General administrative funds are basically complete. The one project that's holding up that 70% is the housing rehab program.
Okay.
And that was because when the FY19 grant was awarded and started up in early 2020, then everything
Right.
fell apart
Cramped up.
and delays happened and construction costs rose, so that some projects had to be rebid because the original bids came in too high. So sort of a little things like that sort of just delayed project completions to get final invoices to the town to be processed. That's the reason why there's, you're at 61%, you've spent 61% of the funds from the FY19 grant, or roughly 61%, but then.
So we lose out on rehab money because of that, or
That
can
is why
that money
we're-
be spent for more rehab, or is it too late?
That's why we're going to see what invoices come in through Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, who's helping to manage the housing rehab program.
Yep.
We'll see what funds come in from them. We're expecting those any day now. We'll see, if we can submit the claim to the state, if that'll get the 70%. If not, that's when we'll put in a waiver that would then come in front of you to sign, Dale, for you to sign off on, and the board to vote on, stating.
So we can apply for the new one.
That you can apply for the new grant and not lose out on any existing funds.
Yeah.
That's why the waiver is important if we have to go that route. And fortunately, they've expressed that, because of the COVID pandemic, they're going to be expecting waivers from some communities, and that usually you have to hit an 80% threshold, and this year they knocked it down to 70% because they expect that this is going to be an issue with other towns.
So is that money just for the survey, or is that to be used as rehab money also?
That is money to be used as rehab money.
Okay, I just hate to miss out on
Mhm.
grant money if we can, you
Yeah.
know, because of a delay in something.
Yes, so the planning study, that is going to be closed out and done. Then the only other project as part of the FY19 is the housing rehab program. So we're going to, see what we can do now to get to that 70% without having to return any money to the state, apply for the waiver. Hopefully that's a success so that you can keep that money, continue finishing up that FY19 housing rehab program while we then apply for the FY21.
And you have to do that by September something, so you got 3 weeks?
September 10th is the deadline.
Okay, all right. I just hate to miss out on
No, I
that money
understand.
if we can, yeah.
Yes, and you do also have some funds as part of an FY20 CDBG grant that was awarded to do senior center improvements as well as more housing rehab. The only threshold you had to meet on that grant was just that it has started, and you'd clear an environmental review, which has been done.
Okay, for the senior center?
Yes.
That's the roof, the flooring,
The roof, the floor,
the
the
heating,
ceiling.
the ceiling?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So as long as you've completed the environmental review, which you did a while earlier this year,
Mhm.
you're all good to go with that grant on meeting the thresholds, because there's no way that you could have spent X amount of money by this point on that.
Right. When does that start, do you know? Any of that work?
That-
Is that your,
Yes, we are working on getting some qualifications together to get an architect
Mhm.
to provide some architectural services to, get the specs into a good place that we can go out to bid for construction. My guess is that the construction is going to happen because, we're sort of getting towards the end of construction season, that we are confident that we'll be able to get that done spring to summer of next year.
okay, so
So-
not this year, because I know I've been asked that, if it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Because the roof leaks over there.
Yes, yeah, we know that, and maybe if we can get the specs up and running and get that out to bid soon. Right now, our sort of focus is on the application,
Mhm.
and then once that's done, we will then get back to getting the senior center project up and running. We might be able to do some interior improvements over the winter if the timeline allows for it, but I'm guessing the roof portion of the project, which is the most important part of it, that's gonna have to wait until the spring when, any snow clears off of the roof. It's hard to do improvements when there's.
I know, but
lots of-
if you do interior stuff and the roof still leaks, you're gonna have to redo
Yeah,
inside.
yeah, and that's why, we'll make sure the architect that we get to help out with a little bit here and there, they'll provide us with the
Yeah,
right steps to move
time
forward with.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, I'm done. Sorry.
Tim?
Just in regards to that, roofers are gonna be looking for winter work right now, because there's a lot of roofers that are not roofing currently, because there's no insulation available. There's a major supply chain issue in the roofing world,
Mhm.
and we're looking at contracts right now where if we started tomorrow, we would not be able to get a roof on until December.
That's very good to know.
So they're gonna be looking for work, and I don't think they'll be opposed to doing some shoveling to get a roof on.
Mhm.
Well, it's flat roof, so it's gonna be a membrane
Yep.
roof,
And-
so if,
And to put they can get the membrane, but every manufacturer has their own different problem right now. Can't even get screws
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
roofs.
Hmm.
It's unbelievable. I've never seen it like that before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
So,
That's very good to know. I'll make sure to
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
well, if they can prioritize that somehow.
Yeah.
Do the roof first, I mean, I'm just saying, I've been in construction a long time, and you
Yeah.
start at the top, so you don't ruin the stuff at the bottom.
And that
If you can.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's how they'll prioritize the steps of improvements.
Yeah,
But yeah, we will
oh, I know.
get that
Okay.
up and running.
So can we
sooner
get back to
rather
the hearing that we were
Yep,
supposed to
sorry.
have?
He said, any questions? I thought it was a valid question.
Sorry,
Um,
does anybody have questions about the application project that we are looking, or the project that we're looking to apply for?
Yeah, I sort of had a question on the Mount Pleasant Street, water and sewer improvements over time there, right, doing the water, and then you're gonna do sewer. Is there any cost sharing with water and sewer on that? I mean, you know, if the water pipes need replacing, it seems to me that sort of that's kind of the responsibility of, you know, the water users.
Mhm.
If there was cost sharing, maybe you could do more of the project, you know?
That, you know, I like that idea. I mean, that's not something that we had thought about when we were sort of budgeting out sort of what this project can do. You know, we just work under the assumption that this grant is going to pay for the entirety of it, that we're not going to be asking residents to pitch in any money, that we're not going to ask the town to pitch in any money, that we'll do it entirely, you know, grant-based, so that no one person is sort of impacted more or less than others. So that is something that we can maybe look at doing in the future, and I'll definitely keep that in mind, and we'll definitely make sure to think about that. But I think for this application, we're not looking to do any cost sharing with residents. We think we haven't really had time to look into how that would benefit or how that would detract from either the project or the residents, and we wouldn't want to just spring something on the neighborhood saying your water bill is going to go up X amount.
Yeah, but, well, it wouldn't, I don't think, because they do have, it's an enterprise fund, so they have budgeted out for some things for improvements, so it's shared against the water users, not just against the residents on that road.
Okay.
So,
Well, I mean, when we get to the design of the project, we can definitely look if there's some ways for the, you know, water department to chip in a little bit of money through that fund without incurring any costs for the residents. Maybe we can then take some of the phase 2 projects or phase 2 elements and apply that to phase 1 before we get into the actual contracting of the construction phase of it. But yeah, I'll keep that in mind, and I see what you do about that.
Good.
I hadn't thought about it, so
Yep.
thanks for bringing it up.
Anything else?
So the 800,000 grant,
Mhm.
I know you said it was budgeted like 785. That's not a ton of cushion for, you know, risk of overages and stuff, so.
There's a 25% contingency already included in that amount.
Okay, that's good. It
Yes.
just seemed like a thin margin, especially the way materials have been going crazy.
Yeah, yes. The engineer, Leonard Engineering, when they prepared the plan, and they also prepared some of the preliminary cost estimates, they included a 25% contingency in there that we have put on, that we're keeping in this application. So it could, yeah, so depending on the price of the engineers and depending on the price of construction, when we get to it, we'll see sort of where, and you know, how much is awarded by the state. We'll see sort of what, you know, we can fit using the most of the grant money and getting the most bang for your buck.
Well, you're only doing water, so you're doing a trench up the road and the T's,
Yes.
and then you're patching that trench all the way down, and the
Yes,
T's.
but they are
to the
designing the
homes,
full,
yeah.
they're designing both phases.
Correct. So
in
one
the
doesn't
beginning.
interfere, but for right now, it's just water.
Right now, we're
Yeah.
focusing on just water.
Yep.
Okay, we good?
Yep.
Good. All right, so we'll close the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there something, did you see something we need to vote on? Is there language that we need to?
Yeah, it's on the handout, request for vote.
Request for vote. So I'll entertain a motion to support and approve the submission of the FY21 CDBG application, including the activities as presented today, with allowance for minor budget or program adjustments, and to authorize the chair and the CFO to sign all documents required for the application.
So moved.
Second.
Anything more to be said on it?
You asking me? No.
Yeah.
I'm good.
There will
Don't
be
ask
one
me.
more document that will come your way as part of the application. That's just the application cover sheet that needs to be signed by the chair.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Now, we only have one more. We got a part-time police officer wage increases.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was included in the annual budget to improve the wages of the part-time police officers. It was approved by finance, it passed the town meeting, the money's in there. We just have to set it because we're the board that sets wages. So it's appropriated, but it hasn't been officially granted to them. So is this what is there a number he has here?
He didn't give me a number, he just gave me that sheet that
I think
shows the
this is
comparison.
Colorful sheet?
Yeah, so he's comparing the wages to surrounding towns, Hardwick, West Brookfield, East Brookfield, and Brookfield. Current starting salary for a part-time police officer is $15 an hour, and that's a minimum of $243, $233 less than any surrounding town, sometimes $3 and $4 less than a surrounding town. The top step, $15. He wants to increase to $17. The day shift, the evening shift will go to 18 with the shift differential, and the midnight shift will go to 19 with the shift differential. And those are significantly lower than most surrounding towns still, with the exception of Brookfield. So we'll be lower during the day for the lowest town still in the area. 1743 is Brookfield, we'd be at 17. The evening shift would make 18, and then Brookfield 1743, so they don't give a shift differential evidently for either evenings or midnights. But I don't think that salary change is unreasonable. And it's budgeted, so.
Okay. I move to approve it.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's done. Public comment. Anybody?
Just a quick question, just so I'm clear on the September 7th debt exclusion, some of those funds are going to be used for rehab. It's not all just for purchase, right?
No, it's all just
No.
a purchase.
It's all just
Buy
for
the building.
purchase?
Mhm.
Yeah, 1.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the purchase price. So we're gonna have to get some money for making renovations, but we gotta purchase, we gotta close, we gotta move before the fire department moves anything, so we'll probably be into the next budget cycle by the time all that happens anyway, I would think. Yep.
I know that they're looking, at least Joe thinks he can get some grants for improving the fire station and, you know, changing the highway barn over to fit the vehicles, so.
Yeah.
He was in contact with someone out of Amherst, a USDA loan or something like that, so.
Okay. Yep. Anything else? Nothing?
I guess, can I have one thing, sorry?
Sure. Yeah.
Just, there is a survey out that the school put out to all the parents. There's actually a couple surveys kicking around town. I think, I saw Tara sent one out as well.
Yeah, Town Beach, yeah.
For the town beach, there's school surveys. This is like survey season right now, so people need to keep an eye on their email or on the face thing or something like that, and
Yeah.
see what they've got going for
I didn't get a
surveys.
survey.
Because it's, you know, it's good way to make sure everyone gets, and I think every single one of them has open comments at the bottom and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
is, it's good. Quick surveys, but then you have a chance to speak your mind at the end, so.
Right, yeah, you're getting the opportunity to have your say, so don't complain afterwards when you haven't had your say, you know. All right, thanks, good point. Announcements, what the special town election, September 7th again. Last day to register to vote for that is tomorrow, August 18th, so if you want to vote on that and you are not currently registered, you have a deadline of tomorrow. And that's that. Anything else?
You missed a couple signatures on this.
I do.
fill in now.
Okay.
They had a bonfire down on the beach over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw that, and they called the police down, they came and took care of it, so. All right, anything further? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.